California is famous for its sunshine and beauty, but behind its charm hides a dark and haunted side. From ghostly prisons to eerie hotels and abandoned mansions, the state is filled with places said to be home to restless spirits. Many visitors claim to hear whispers, footsteps, and see strange shadows. These haunted places in California reveal chilling stories from the past that continue to send shivers down the spine of anyone who dares to explore. Now we will visit the most haunted places in California. Number 1. Randsburg Ghost Town. Randsburg Ghost Town in Kern County, California, may seem like a peaceful relic from the gold rush days, but once darkness falls, it turns into one of the most haunted places in the state. Once a booming mining town filled with life and laughter, it now stands silent, echoing with the memories of those who never truly left. The wind carries whispers through broken windows, and shadows drift along the dusty streets like forgotten souls searching for rest. One haunting often mentioned is that of a miner named Thomas Rigg, who died during a mine collapse. His ghostly figure is seen near the Yellow Aster mine, holding a lantern that glows and fades into the cold night. Another haunting centers around a little girl named Clara, who died of illness during the winter. Her soft laughter is still heard near the old schoolhouse, and toys are sometimes found mysteriously moved. At the White House Saloon, glasses slide across the bar by unseen hands, and the piano plays faint notes on its own, believed to be the work of a long-dead cowboy who still enjoys his nightly drink. The old cemetery adds to the dread, with glowing blue lights drifting among the graves and the sound of distant crying echoing across the hill. Inside the abandoned hotel, guests have reported waking up to see shadowy figures standing silently beside their beds before vanishing into thin air. And when the moon rises, a phantom horseman has been seen galloping through the main street, disappearing into the desert mist. The haunting presence of Randsburg Ghost Town continues to remind visitors that its ghostly past still lives on beneath the desert moon. Number 2. San Fernando Mission. San Fernando Mission in Mission Hills, California, is one of the oldest and most haunted places in the state. Built in 1797 by Spanish settlers, this historic mission once served as a place of worship and a burial ground for hundreds of Native Americans and missionaries. Its peaceful appearance hides centuries of sorrow, tragedy, and restless spirits that still linger within its crumbling walls and quiet courtyards. At night, the mission transforms into a realm of whispers, shadows, and unexplainable presence. One haunting speaks of a friar who was buried alive by mistake after falling into a coma. His ghostly figure is now seen walking near the old cemetery, hands folded in prayer, his face pale with agony. Another haunting involves the spirit of a young Native American girl who appears near the fountains, crying softly for her lost family. The sound of her sobs echoes through the mission garden when the moon is high. The third involves the ringing of the mission bell late at night, when no one is there. Locals believe it's a signal from a long-dead monk warning others of danger. The fourth haunting occurs in the chapel, where visitors feel a sudden chill and smell burning incense, as if a phantom mass is being held by unseen priests. The fifth haunting is the ghost of a Spanish soldier who patrols the mission grounds, seen holding a musket and vanishing into thin air as dawn approaches. The sixth and most frightening happens in the museum section, where an old wooden cross shakes violently on its own. Visitors say it's the spirit of a man who cursed the church before his death. San Fernando Mission remains a sacred yet haunted place where history and the supernatural walk hand in hand. Number 3. Museum of Death. The Museum of Death in Hollywood, California, is one of the most disturbing and haunted attractions in the state. Originally created to educate people about death, the museum houses crime scene photos, autopsy tools, coffins, and personal items of infamous murderers. But beyond its dark displays, there's something else lurking, a chilling energy that feels alive, as if the countless objects inside still carry the suffering and spirits of those connected to them. Visitors often leave pale, shaken, and convinced they were not alone. The first haunting is said to come from a cursed painting that makes viewers dizzy and nauseous. Some claim to see the eyes of the figure inside the artwork follow them across the room. The second haunting involves faint whispers near the serial killer exhibits, where voices seem to murmur the names of their victims. Guards say the recordings turn on by themselves even when unplugged. The third haunting centers around an antique embalming table once used in the 1930s. Late at night, it emits a strong scent of formaldehyde, and cold mist rises from it, as if unseen hands are still preparing bodies for burial. The fourth haunting is of a woman in black, seen walking slowly between the glass cases. She vanishes whenever anyone approaches, leaving behind the smell of wilted roses. The fifth haunting is the phantom laughter that echoes through the hall lined with old clown photos and death masks. It is said to belong to a performer who died during a circus fire decades ago. The sixth and most terrifying involves the museum storage room, where security cameras capture flickering lights and moving shadows. Many believe these restless spirits are drawn to the Museum of Death, forever trapped among the echoes of their tragic pasts. Number 4. Amargosa Opera House. The Amargosa Opera House in Death Valley, California, stands isolated under the desert sun, surrounded by silence and mystery. Once a lively performance hall and hotel built in the 1920s, it now holds an eerie atmosphere that feels frozen in time. The creaking floors, faded murals, and flickering lights seem to whisper secrets from the past. Many who stay here leave convinced that something unseen still watches from the dark corners of the old opera house. Visitors often speak of a ghostly dancer who glides across the stage at night, dressed in white, her movements graceful yet sorrowful. She is believed to be a former performer who died during a show and continues her final act for an audience that no longer exists. In the dressing rooms, people feel sudden chills and smell old perfume drifting through the air, even though the building is empty. Guests sleeping in the adjoining hotel have reported waking up to the sound of tapping heels on the hallway floorboards and soft music coming from the theater below. Others have seen a tall man in a top hat standing near the stage curtain, watching silently before fading into the walls. Some say he was once the owner, still protecting his beloved opera house from time and decay. In the basement, a heavy presence is felt, and equipment has been found mysteriously moved overnight. Strange knocks echo from the walls, as if someone is trying to communicate from beyond. The scariest encounter involves the audience seats themselves, where figures can be seen sitting in the shadows, clapping softly after midnight performances. The Amargosa Opera House remains a hauntingly beautiful reminder that even in the desert's emptiness, the past refuses to die. Number 5. Julia Morgan Building. The Julia Morgan Building in Pasadena, California is admired for its stunning architecture and elegant design, but behind its historic beauty lies a darker side few dare to speak about. Built in the early 1900s by the famous architect Julia Morgan, the structure has seen decades of mystery, tragedy, and ghostly presence. Once used as an office, then a private residence, and later an art center, it now stands as one of the most haunted buildings in California, where the line between the living and the dead often blurs. Visitors have described the ghost of a woman in an old-fashioned gown seen pacing the marble hallways at dusk. Many believe she is Julia Morgan herself, forever inspecting her masterpiece. Her perfume lingers in the air long after she vanishes into the walls. Strange knocking sounds echo from the upper floors when no one is there, and cold breezes rush through sealed rooms. Late at night, security guards have heard soft weeping coming from the main staircase. The sound leads to nowhere, yet the feeling of sadness lingers long after it fades. In the grand ballroom, the piano sometimes plays a few notes on its own, and shadows can be seen dancing across the floor as if a ghostly celebration continues from another era. Workers restoring the building have reported tools disappearing and doors slamming without wind. One painter quit after claiming he saw a pale handprint appear on a freshly painted wall before slowly fading away. The most disturbing reports come from the basement, where heavy footsteps approach in complete darkness, followed by whispers that sound like warnings. The Julia Morgan Building remains an elegant yet deeply haunted landmark, where history breathes and spirits never rest. Number 6. Los Angeles Pet Memorial Park. The Los Angeles Pet Memorial Park in Calabasas, California, may seem peaceful during the day, but when night falls, it becomes one of the eeriest and most haunted places in the state. Established in the 1920s, this cemetery is the final resting place for thousands of beloved animals, including famous pets once owned by Hollywood stars. Rows of tiny headstones stretch across the hillside, surrounded by silence and mystery. Yet many visitors believe that the souls buried here have not all found peace, and the park comes alive with strange, otherworldly energy after dark. People have reported seeing glowing animal shapes wandering between graves, ghostly dogs running joyfully through the grass, and cats with shining eyes disappearing into the mist. Some visitors have felt gentle nudges on their legs, as if a friendly pet were brushing past them, only to find nothing there. On still nights, faint barking and meowing can be heard echoing across the grounds, long after visiting hours have ended. Caretakers tell of a woman in white who visits a particular grave every evening. She kneels, whispers softly, and vanishes into thin air. Many believe she was a pet owner who never stopped mourning her lost companion. In one chilling incident, a security guard claimed to see dozens of paw prints appear on the wet ground out of nowhere, circling his car before fading. Near the old chapel, flickering lights have been seen, and mournful howls rise from the darkness with no source in sight. Visitors also describe the feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes follow every step. The Los Angeles Pet Memorial Park is both heartwarming and haunting, a place where loyalty, love, and loss continue far beyond the grave. Number 7. Old Town, San Diego State Historic Park. Old Town San Diego State Historic Park is one of California's most visited historic landmarks, and one of its most haunted. Once the heart of early California life, this restored 19th century settlement is filled with adobe homes, saloons, shops, and churches that hide chilling secrets. Beneath the charm of its wooden sidewalks and candlelit windows lies a restless energy that refuses to fade. After dark, the laughter of the past turns to whispers, and the shadows of the dead seem to come alive among the old buildings. Visitors often speak of a woman in black who walks slowly near the Casa de Estudillo, her face veiled as she carries a single candle. Locals believe she searches for her lost husband who was executed nearby centuries ago. Inside the Whaley House, often called America's most haunted home, unseen hands tug at clothing and cold spots drift through every room. Footsteps echo on the stairs when no one is there, and the ghost of Thomas Whaley himself is said to appear near the parlor doorway. In the old courthouse, guards have heard voices calling out verdicts from trials long past, and papers mysteriously scatter across desks overnight. Near the old jail, the heavy iron doors slam shut on their own, and faint cries of prisoners echo from empty cells. At the Cosmopolitan Hotel, guests have seen furniture move and mirrors fog up with strange handprints that vanish seconds later. Even the old cemetery brings unease. Visitors walking along the path often feel sudden chills, and photos reveal glowing orbs floating above unmarked graves. Old Town San Diego may be full of history and color by day, but when night falls, its spirits rise to remind the living that the past never really leaves. Number 8. Natural History Museum. The Natural History Museum in Los Angeles is known for its fascinating exhibits and ancient artifacts, but behind its grand halls lies a darker truth. It is one of the most haunted places in California. Built in 1913, the museum has witnessed strange events for decades. When the lights go out and the echo of footsteps fades, the building seems to breathe with life from another world. Security guards and night staff whisper of eerie voices, moving shadows, and the chilling feeling of being watched by something unseen. Visitors have reported seeing the ghost of a former curator wandering through the dinosaur exhibit. Dressed in an old suit, he studies the fossils with a lantern in his hand before vanishing into the darkness. In the ancient Egypt room, strange cold spots appear near the mummies' cases, and some say they've seen a faint figure wrapped in linen drift across the floor. The air grows heavy there, as though something long buried has awakened. Staff members working late have heard the sound of footsteps pacing on the marble floors when the building is empty. Doors creak open on their own, and whispers echo from behind the display walls. In the Gemstone Gallery, visitors have felt sudden electric shocks and glimpsed bright flashes of light that seem to come from nowhere. The taxidermy section carries an unsettling energy. The glass eyes of the animals seem to follow every movement, and faint growls echo through the hall after closing time. In the basement storage area, workers speak of boxes sliding across the floor by unseen hands and an overpowering smell of decay. The Natural History Museum, filled with relics of the ancient world, feels as though those relics sometimes remember and reach out to the living. Number 9. Los Angeles Public Library. The Los Angeles Public Library in downtown LA is not only a treasure of knowledge, but also one of the eeriest places in California. Its grand halls and silent reading rooms carry an unsettling atmosphere that visitors often describe as heavy and cold. Many believe that the spirits of those who perished in the devastating 1986 fire never left the building. Late-night janitors claim to hear distant coughing, the sound of footsteps rushing through smoke, and faint cries for help echoing down empty corridors. A librarian once reported seeing a man in an old-fashioned suit reading silently at a desk. When she approached to speak to him, the figure vanished, leaving behind the faint smell of burnt paper. Another staff member experienced books flying from shelves in the history section, as if thrown by unseen hands, scattering pages across the floor without a single breeze in the air. Security guards on overnight shifts often refuse to patrol certain areas alone. One guard described seeing a pale woman wandering the main lobby, holding what appeared to be a scorched book. When he called out, she turned toward him with hollow eyes and disappeared through a closed door. In the children's section, strange laughter and whispers can be heard long after closing time. Some say the spirit of a young girl who once visited the library daily still roams there, searching for her favorite storybook. Visitors have also captured strange figures in photographs near the elevators and on the marble staircase. Even in broad daylight, a sense of being watched lingers throughout the building. The Los Angeles Public Library, with its tragic past and spectral presence, stands as a chilling reminder that even places of learning can hide restless spirits among their stories. Number 10. Riverside Cemetery. Riverside Cemetery in California may look peaceful during the day, but as darkness falls, the place transforms into one of the most unsettling locations in the state. Locals whisper that the cemetery is filled with restless souls who never found peace. Visitors have often reported the eerie sound of church bells ringing from nowhere, even though no chapel stands nearby. Many believe it's the spirit of an old caretaker who once rang the bell to warn people away from the graves after sunset. Late-night visitors have seen a tall shadow gliding silently among the tombstones. It moves without sound, yet cold air follows in its path. Some say it's the spirit of a soldier buried there over a century ago, endlessly searching for his lost comrades. One grieving woman reported seeing a transparent figure kneeling beside her mother's grave, whispering in a voice that echoed through the still night. A chilling tale surrounds an old angel statue near the entrance. People claim its eyes glow red when the moon is full, and anyone who stares too long feels dizzy and disoriented. Another story tells of an antique carriage that appears out of the fog, pulled by horses with fiery eyes, only to vanish at the gates. Caretakers have spoken of tools moving on their own and voices calling their names when no one is around. Some even claim to see ghostly lights drifting between graves, forming shapes that resemble faces. Riverside Cemetery, with its silent beauty and endless mysteries, holds stories that chill the blood and remind all who entered that the past is never truly gone. It lingers, waiting among the dead. Number 11. Beverly Hills Bermuda Triangle. The Beverly Hills Bermuda Triangle, a mysterious stretch of land between Whittier Drive, Linden Drive, and Burton Way, is one of California's most unsettling and eerie places. Though surrounded by luxury and glamour, strange forces seem to govern this area, creating an invisible web of tragedy and paranormal activity that defies logic. Locals say an unseen energy lingers in the air, as if the past refuses to fade. Witnesses have seen a shimmering figure drifting along Burton Way at night, believed to be the spirit of a pilot whose plane crashed there in the 1940s. His uniformed form appears to glide through traffic before vanishing into thin air. Others have reported a young woman in a white dress sprinting through the streets, her face pale with terror, disappearing as headlights pass over her. Taxi drivers often avoid the intersection after hearing stories of an invisible passenger who enters their cab, leaving behind a sudden drop in temperature and the faint scent of aviation fuel. In one unsettling event, a group of tourists captured a photo showing ghostly outlines of people standing in the middle of the road, their features blurred as if caught between worlds. Residents nearby claim that their car engines stall whenever they pass through the area late at night, and their radios fill with static and ghostly whispers. Some even describe seeing a fiery light hovering above the road before fading into darkness. There are whispers that the ground itself holds an ancient curse, perhaps from the lives lost in accidents and tragedies that have occurred there for decades. The Beverly Hills Bermuda Triangle remains a chilling reminder that even in the most glamorous corners of California, shadows of the past still roam beneath the city lights. Number 12. Golden Gate Park Conservatory. The Golden Gate Park Conservatory in San Francisco is one of the city's most enchanting yet chilling landmarks. Its elegant Victorian glass structure hides an atmosphere that turns eerie after dark. Locals whisper that the flowers and vines seem to breathe when the sun sets, and shadows move across the glass even when no one is inside. Many believe the spirits of those connected to the park's long history still wander through its misty corridors. Visitors have reported seeing a ghostly woman dressed in 19th-century gardening clothes, tending to the plants. When approached, she fades into the ferns, leaving behind the faint scent of roses. Late at night, security guards hear footsteps pacing inside the locked conservatory, accompanied by the sound of watering cans clinking against the floor. Some claim a young boy appears near the lily ponds, his reflection visible in the glass even when he is not there. His soft laughter echoes through the humid air before vanishing into silence. A group of photographers once captured an unexplained mist forming into a human-like figure among the orchids. When they checked their cameras, every device malfunctioned. Employees say that tools move by themselves and sometimes a cold breeze passes through even when all doors are sealed. A mysterious light flickers near the central dome, described as a glowing orb drifting between the palm trees before dissolving into thin air. Many believe the spirits are those of workers who died during the construction and restoration of the conservatory, their love for the gardens keeping them bound to this place. The Golden Gate Park Conservatory may be filled with beauty by day, but when night falls, its quiet halls transform into one of California's most unsettling realms of spectral presence. Number 13. Queen Anne Hotel. The Queen Anne Hotel in San Francisco stands tall with its Victorian beauty, yet behind its elegant walls lies a chilling mystery that refuses to fade. Built in the late 1800s as an exclusive boarding school for girls, the building carries the deep sorrow of Miss Mary Lake, the beloved headmistress who died shortly after her school closed. Guests claim her spirit never left, still watching over the place she once cherished. Many visitors have stayed in room 410, said to be Miss Lake's old office, and awoke to find their blankets neatly tucked around them, as if by invisible hands. Some have felt a soft pat on the shoulder, followed by the faint smell of lavender perfume drifting through the air. Others speak of seeing her reflection appear in the mirror, smiling gently before fading away. Late-night guests hear the sound of footsteps pacing across the hallway, even though no one is there. A few have reported hearing a woman's voice humming an old melody from the past. On cold evenings, staff members have felt a rush of warmth sweep through certain rooms, as if a gentle presence was trying to comfort them. An elevator has been known to move on its own, stopping at the 4th floor without anyone pressing the button. Security footage once showed a faint, misty figure gliding near the staircase before dissolving into the walls. Those who enter the hotel describe an unexplainable mix of peace and fear, as if love and loss still linger together. The Queen Anne Hotel may welcome guests with luxury and charm, but beneath its refined surface dwells the restless energy of a bygone era, where one woman's devotion continues long after death. Number 14. Los Angeles Theater. The Los Angeles Theater in downtown LA is one of California's most breathtaking yet eeriest historic landmarks. Built in 1931 with grand chandeliers, red velvet curtains, and golden balconies, its beauty hides a chilling secret. Beneath the glamour lies an unsettling energy that many visitors have felt but cannot explain. The theater, once filled with laughter and applause, now carries whispers from another world when the lights go out. Staff have often seen a shadowy figure standing near the stage, watching silently, as if waiting for a performance that never ends. Ushers have heard applause echoing through the empty auditorium, followed by the soft sound of a woman weeping somewhere backstage. Some claim to have seen the faint outline of a performer practicing alone under a dim spotlight before vanishing into the air. Projectionists tell of strange flickers appearing on the movie screen, faces from the past staring back at them for only a moment. One janitor quit after hearing someone whisper his name from the orchestra pit when he was alone. The mirrors in the dressing rooms are said to reveal pale figures standing behind those who look into them, disappearing as soon as they turn around. Visitors exploring the basement have described cold spots and sudden drops in temperature, along with the faint scent of old perfume. A few have even claimed that an elegant woman in 1930s attire appears in the lobby, her footsteps echoing across the marble floor before she fades into the golden walls. The Los Angeles Theater remains a stunning piece of Hollywood's golden age, yet its beauty is haunted by those who never took their final bow. Within its grand silence, the echoes of forgotten stars still perform for an audience that no longer exists. Number 15. Fort Tejon. Fort Tejon in Lubbock, California, is a quiet historic site surrounded by mountains and whispering winds, yet its peaceful setting hides a deeply eerie presence. Built in the 1850s as a military outpost, the fort has witnessed disease, tragedy, and untold sorrow. Many who visit say the air feels heavy, as if the past still clings to every stone wall and creaking floorboard. Shadows move where no light should reach, and voices echo across the barracks long after sunset. Visitors have seen the figure of a soldier standing guard at the parade grounds, holding a rifle as though still on duty. When approached, he vanishes into thin air, leaving behind the faint sound of boots on gravel. Inside the officers' quarters, doors slam without warning and furniture shifts as if someone unseen is still living there. People walking near the old hospital have heard soft groans and the rattling of chains. Some claim to feel cold hands touch their shoulders, followed by a deep sense of sadness. A woman dressed in a tattered gown is often seen near the ruins, believed to be the wife of an officer who died of fever during the fort's darkest days. Campers nearby have witnessed lantern lights flickering across the hills, moving as though carried by invisible hands. Others have recorded whispers calling their names in the night. One ranger once reported seeing ghostly horses galloping through the fog, their riders headless and silent. Fort Tejon remains a preserved piece of California's frontier past, but its grounds seem forever alive with memories of those who served and died there. The fort's stillness hides the restless energy of souls unable to move on, turning its beauty into one of the state's most chilling mysteries. Number 16. Evergreen Cemetery. Evergreen Cemetery in Santa Cruz, California, is one of the oldest burial grounds in the state, resting quietly beneath ancient redwoods and rolling fog. But when night falls, the peace of this historic cemetery fades, replaced by an eerie atmosphere that chills even the bravest visitors. Locals say the spirits buried here never truly left, their presence felt in every cold gust and every flicker of light among the gravestones. Many people have reported seeing a pale woman wandering through the cemetery, dressed in a long white gown, her face hidden behind a veil. She glides silently between the graves and disappears when approached. Some believe she is the ghost of a grieving mother who lost her child to a fever in the 1800s. Forever searching for the small grave she once visited daily. Caretakers often hear footsteps crunching on the gravel paths after closing hours, followed by the low sound of weeping carried by the wind. A few visitors have described seeing old lanterns glowing in the distance, even though no one is there. The air grows icy near the children's section, and some have claimed to hear faint laughter echoing between the headstones. Late at night, cars passing by have reported seeing shadowy figures standing by the entrance gates. One driver once swore he saw a man in Civil War uniform saluting before fading into the mist. Ghost hunters have captured strange orbs and whispered voices saying names that match those carved into nearby graves. Despite its beauty, Evergreen Cemetery carries an unsettling energy that refuses to fade. It stands as a haunting reminder that even the calmest resting places can hold restless souls, forever tied to the sorrow and secrets of the past. Number 17. Lassen Volcanic National Park. Lassen Volcanic National Park in Shasta County, California, is known for its boiling springs, jagged peaks, and steaming geysers, but behind its natural beauty lies a chilling and mysterious side. The land feels alive, not just with volcanic energy, but with something unseen and otherworldly. Many visitors describe a strange silence in certain areas, as if the forest itself is holding its breath, watching those who dare to wander too far. Hikers have often spotted ghostly figures drifting along the trails in near Bum Pass Hell. These misty shapes appear out of the sulfuric fog, resembling miners or early explorers, before dissolving back into the steam. Near Manzanita Lake, campers have heard cries echoing across the water, followed by the sound of splashing. though no one can ever be found. A park ranger once reported seeing an old prospector sitting by a campfire deep in the woods. When he approached, the man's face vanished, leaving behind only a smoking pipe on a cold log. Some visitors claim to have seen glowing lights floating over the boiling pools, dancing like lost souls trapped in the rising steam. Near the devastated area, travelers describe a suffocating pressure, as though invisible hands are gripping their shoulders. A few have even fainted, claiming they felt pulled toward the ground by an unseen force. Others have captured photos showing transparent faces in the background of their images, twisted in agony. Locals believe the restless energy comes from those who perished during the volcanic eruptions and the native tribes who once considered the land sacred. Lassen Volcanic National Park stands as both a marvel of nature and a realm of supernatural mystery, where the earth itself seems to whisper reminders of the souls it has never released.